Hi, everyone. Welcome to another podcast. Today's topic is on judgment. So, we thought let's talk about this topic and try and understand what judgment is all about. How do we unconsciously judge everything and anything just for the heck of it? How judgment can be a contribution to us, and what are the ways we cannot take judgment personally. There'll be some very interesting experiences as well that some of us will share with you as we move along. To judge means to have an opinion or have a conclusion. It can be about somebody, it can be about an event or a situation. In my opinion, judgment is a tool which we naturally use to understand ourselves. We understand what we like and what we don't like. So it's like, oh, I like the way this girl or this person has behaved in this situation. I could use this as well next time. Or, gosh, I didn't like the way this person behaved here. I would never do this. So it gives you a little bit of understanding of your likes and dislikes as well, right? So it not only gives us understanding about ourselves, it also helps us grow and evolve. Yeah. And it also shows us that what are the other possibilities? Oh, this one behaves like this in this situation. This one behaves like this. So instead of belittling and jumping into quick judgment and belittling someone or just criticizing for the heck of it, we can use it as a tool, right? It's like you take a dish, right? A dish is made. Now, some people will love it as is, some people will hate it, some people would like to change one or two ingredients, some people would like to add some chilies and spices, some people would like to have it bland. So the dish is not wrong, but the experiences of different people will differ based upon the taste buds of each and every human being, because each one of us is unique with our own set of taste buds, which is based upon our experiences, our conditioning, our cultures, the way we've grown up, right? It's an analogy that I'm using. Basically, instead of jumping into opinions and judgments, we should learn to respect the differences because there's beauty in differences, and there should be allowance just to be as is and enjoy it the way it is. Like I said, each one of us are born with our own set of taste buds. I'm not born, I mean, we grow up and we develop our own taste buds. And we learn by observation, trial and error, and we have the right to make mistakes. It's like a sculptor who's trying to sculpt his life, right? With a chisel, he's chiseling away by trial and error and observation. Imagine having to sculpt your masterpiece based on other people's opinions. Where is the uniqueness? I mean, what about your masterpiece? You're just doing what other people want you to do, isn't it? How many judgments are you going to base your life on? Because the minute you do that, 10 more judgments will be waiting for you immediately.
I really like how you talked about that you're defining your own being by having judgment. You are, building who you are by judging, what you see around you. And that reminds me, I had a bronze sculpture. It was one of the first pieces of art I ever bought. And it's about 3 feet tall, and it was a bronze, and it was this guy who was, very muscular, beautiful, and strong, and he's got this hammer above his head, and he's in a rock from the waist down, and he's chiseling himself out
Wow.
of stone. And the name of the sculpture is Self-Made Man. So he is making himself, and then that gave me shivers when you were talking about that. Because I think that's a very powerful concept of we judge things because we're trying to, decide who we are.
When I was 28 and I had quitted my job as an architect, and I was having that vital crisis, then I had a car accident and I saw my life passing before my eyes, and I could recognize that I had been doing things because I wanted to please my dad, I wanted to please my mom, I wanted to fit in this part of society, this person or this friend, so whatever. And it was so boring. It was like if it was somebody else's life, and I felt completely like, what is that? So that experience made me decide that I want to make it count and be authentic and be myself and find the real me there. Because actually what I realized is that everyone was thinking their own thoughts and their own ideas about their own ways to perceive life, but nobody really knew me. And so they were all those ideas or judgments or criteria, those benchmarks that I used to compare myself with, were based on ignorance. They didn't know me. They didn't know who I was. They didn't know my background, my thoughts, my feelings, the way I perceive things, my traumas, my likes, my genetic information, my past lives. They didn't know anything about that. And then I was so that really changed my life. And I was one person before, and then I've been so many other people afterwards. So I think that recognizing also how you use that judgment to limit yourself, to put yourself in a frame that is not yours, and actually to feel like you don't belong, and that you are not being honest and being true, and that you are not a whole thing, that you're separated in little bits and pieces.
So
So that's and it comes from ignorance. That's something I learned there. When like people don't really see you, they don't really know you. You are the only one that knows yourself, and also not always, and not as deeply. So judgment, yeah, it's like a thing we use to find a way to relate and to think and build up a fiction,
yeah,
and a fake identity of ourselves, and to know how to relate. But the truth is that our real us is there already. We don't need to judge it. We
yeah,
just need to embrace it.
The thing that I thought about when we talking about judgment, the thing that I think about judgment is more about how other people judge us as well. And one of the books I read many, many years ago that was one of my favorites is called The Four Axioms of Life, and it's Toltec wisdom. And one of them that really stuck with me is don't take things personally. And that has been a very powerful axiom in my life, because I was married to a narcissist for 30 years. And it was a very difficult emotional relationship. And I finally realized what that was, and that everything that he threw at me was relative to his perceptions and his needs and insecurities, and had nothing to do with me. So that concept of don't take anything personally was really powerful for me in understanding not to engage when he would go off on these tantrums about everything that was wrong with me. Um, so I think I would encourage all of you to realize that when people are talking to you and maybe you're not feeling good about it, it's because it's relative to what they think, and not to take it personally, and just believe in yourself and be happy and know that you're your own person and it doesn't matter what other people think.
Yeah.
That was also true with me when I started sharing my sailing dream with people. It was really interesting that initially you could tell people were like, "Oh, that sounds like a pipe dream. That's not going to happen. You're too old for that," or whatever. Um, and it was met with a lot of kind of skepticism. And I just, in my head, I'm just thinking, you might think that, but I know it's going to happen. And then after over, it takes a while to get that dream to come true. Over the year, eventually people were like, "Oh wow, you're really going to do this," and then they get really interested and start talking about it. So it's very important when you have a dream to share it with people that you um, resonate with, that are going to support you and be happy. And just know that no matter what anybody else thinks, you have to believe that it's going to happen. So don't worry about other people's judgment.
Yeah.
That's my
true.
words of wisdom. Just
Mhm.
don't let other people's judgment worry you.
Yeah.
There is an amazing phrase of a film with which is it's from, I think it's Will Smith and his son. The Path to Happiness or something like that was the title in Spanish, but I don't know in English. But he's talking to his son, and he's telling him, don't let the people that think that your dream is impossible bring you down and not allow you to go for it. Just when you want something, go for it.
And I think that's amazing because
Yeah.
it's like people that they think that is not possible, they're not going to make it. But if you want it and you know that there's something in you that is in your path or that is taking you there, just go for it. And so then don't let those limiting beliefs of other people limit yourself. And for me, that's amazing because uh me being usually like the odd one out, like the one that is crazy and that does all these things like traveling in the pandemic or not getting vaccinated and things like that, suddenly is like really all the people there were saying you can't do it, and I just went, bought the plane ticket and flew, and it was easy. And they were just there like you can't do that, you're gonna die.
Oh,
And so I had the most amazing experiences during that period of my life, which I continue to have, doing things that are like mind blowing for other people. And it's just because I just want to do them and I do them. So,
I think the most important thing that we forget is we start building up our connections with the people around us. And that's why we value their judgment more. And then you feel, suffocated like, oh my God, I can't live my life the way I want. But like you said, Maria, if there's something you want to do in life, you've got to remember only what matters is your connection with life, with the source, with your creator, with God, with whoever. It doesn't matter with anybody around you what they think or what their opinions are, right? Because ultimately it's who is accountable. You are accountable, and it's a connection between you and God. It's got nothing to do with them. One, if we keep our focus like like the horse, the view, just the
yeah.
focus is in front when you're running, it should help to reach. But then we give in to other people's connections and their viewpoints, and that weakens us. Yeah, and that just slows us down our race to reach where we want. You're trying to say something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and also one thing that I've noticed in my life is that the at the beginning of a change of, life, one of the many I've done, for example, when I started studying A Course in Miracles, my life started to change. I started to change my life. And people were really scared, like you're quitting your job, you're changing you're not seeing the same people, you're not wanting to engage into conversations that you used to engage, you're not eating meat, people were freaking out and they were judging the process, but it was a reflection of my inner insecurity and my inner judgment of, oh my God, what am I doing? And the moment that those decisions really were completely integrated in myself, those kind of comments disappeared. And I think that judgment from other people, I mean, it might come, but if you're really centered, you don't notice it or you don't take it into account. It's like, well, this person is kind of crazy, and that's it. But when you're insecure and somebody brings in that idea like you shouldn't be doing that, then that starts to feed on your own fears and insecurities, and then it's like ruminating inside yourself. And I think that's the key. Like, if you're not secure and you're not like really, really certain of what you're doing, those judgments are a mirror. As you were saying before, Palak, you can use it in your life to know yourself. So you can use it to see where are you really not building a base or certainty on yourself. But it's not to take it onto like not to take it in and say he's right or she's right, but to say, what do I really think? Am I secure? Am I centered with this? Am I really in my own true self with this? And that's the question. So I think it's really interesting because that's the only use that judgment may have, like to build yourself up. But the rest is like, well, these people are talking without really having the information. I love one idea from A Course in Miracles that says that the only thing that you could realize about judgment is that it's impossible for you to judge. And it's not because you cannot say it, it's because you don't have the information to actually judge something.
True.
Because you don't have all the perspectives, all the backgrounds, all the inputs. You cannot really judge
You
because you
can't.
are only seeing a part of it. You're
Right.
not seeing the whole of it. So you
Right.
can't judge.
Right.
And that is amazing because that suddenly is like, it blows up every kind of thought that you may have, like on people having a perspective that is correct more than yours. It's like, that's their perspective. They don't have my inputs, my info, my background, my way of perceiving the world, my dreams, my abilities, or whatever. So
You said a very valid point,
I
Ma.
think that's one of,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead,
No,
Palak.
no,
Go
I'm
ahead.
saying she said, just wanted to say this, that she said a very valid point, which made me realize, oh, this is very important to me, that it's so important for us to know ourselves first. If you know your hair, it's that example that we were talking about, Carol, that somebody's telling you, I don't like your blue hair. Like, blue hair? I don't even have blue hair. So who are you to pass a judgment on my blue hair? So you've got to know yourself first, and then you decide, do I have blue hair or not? You know? So I guess it's something like this. Sorry, Carol, go ahead. Yeah.
But yeah, I was just going to add that, and I think another axiom in this book was don't make assumptions. And that's what you were just talking about, Maria, that, people do judgments and they're based on, they're making assumptions about something, about you or whatever, and they may have no clue. And I think that's good for all of us, is not to make assumptions about other people as well. Because, we're all guilty of judging. But
Yeah.
hopefully we are all learning to not be that way.
yeah,
Like
I think
sometimes I feel like, and I don't know, I like I consider myself, this is going to be weird. I consider myself kind of a Barbie kind of girl, like a blonde, blue eyes, I like to look cute, all the time. Not that I look that cute today because my hair, but anyway, you know what I'm saying? And, and I try and always be put together when I go out. And even if I'm on the boat all day long, I might be in my jammies most of the day, but when it's happy hour, I'll put on some little cute dress, just, and I feel like sometimes people judge me for that, that, oh, she, and then other people have other things about them that, people judge them for. And to me, it's, I'm sorry, that's who I am. It's who I've always been. And that's just the way it is,
Yeah.
so we can't judge others, for how they look or whatever, because everybody's a unique and beautiful human being,
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
to me, I call it the mosaic of all our souls. We all have to have different characteristics for us to blend and,
Otherwise, how boring
and
it
be.
would be.
how
Yeah.
I
boring.
know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So well said. It's like live and let live. Live and
There
absolutely.
let
you go. And I think we should end on that.
on that.
Live and let live.
So if you've liked our podcast today, if you like the topic that we've spoken about, do share, like,
Yeah.
and subscribe.